No, that one. Okay. I never used that one. I don't know why it's there. Just looking at my setups and wondering why I did what I did. I need to clean up my Streamlabs. Anyway, oh my goodness. Hello, Taylor. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for resubscribing. So kind of you. Please, I hope you love those emotes, and I, of course, love the Cacodemon. Because it is adorable, and that it eats your face, right? Okay, what did Robo say? Robo said, turn the music down when we start. So we've started. Welcome to Thursday in the kitchen. It's good enough to eat today with Quake or Warren. Thank you for joining me. We are continuing our Pride Month celebration. It's probably, yeah. With doing more rainbow bakes, but no food coloring today, and of course individually portioned. I did end up throwing out the last little sliver of cheesecake just so it wouldn't be in the house to eat, and we had eaten all the whipped cream off of it, so would have had to make more because it did need that whipped cream to lighten it up because it was very, very rich. Oh my goodness, but so good. So today we're doing a million things. There's lots of moving pieces, but it's my favorite because I have to do hardly any measuring. The one recipe I'm using is just for a base. Everything else, we're going to make a million different things, and none of it takes any sort of measuring or know-how or special tools other than our first thing. So let us get that first thing going, I think. Yes, I did make myself a list so I know the order to do things in. And let's get started. Let's get started. Mark wants a flex over there, even though he can see me. I will go on the camera for you. As you can see, we have a multitude of colorful ingredients. This is why we do not need food coloring today. We're going all natural with our stuff. But I put this all in a tray so I could get it out of the way because I need to make something else first. I need to make our base filling. And I'm actually going to turn on the oven first because I want to toast up some almond flour to make some frangipan. If you don't know what frangipan is, I've heard it described as nut cream, which is a great thing to say right now, anytime, all the time. We love nut cream. Creamy almond goo. Anyway, you can make it with any sort of nut or thing that you can grind into a flour-like consistency, but we're going classic today using ground almonds because I have a whole lot of ground almonds around that I have needed an excuse to use, and I've been not making macarons because they are a pain in my butt. So I haven't been trying to make those. But I am going to have some extra egg whites today, so maybe someone will convince me to make some macarons. I thought I had gotten everything out, and then of course I was looking over recipes and realizing that I need to get more eggs, more butter, more stuff ready. But we're mostly there. I'm actually going to do two kinds of base fillings. It's mostly going to be the frangipan, but I also am going to make a peanut buttery filling, mostly for that brownish color. So I'm going to stick this in the microwave to get a little bit warmer. I wish my microwave door opened the other way, honestly. That'd be convenient for me. I softened some butter in there already because I'm going to need that for my frangipan. I'm just going to soften this and let it sit there until I am ready. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. My work week is over. I have my unpaid day off tomorrow, so I can not worry about going to bed at a reasonable time, except I do want to get up in the morning and play some Ring Fit and play some Solasta before Mark takes over his computer again. And I've also been trying to make sure that I'm drinking enough water. Don't wash my hands. I had to go to the office the other day, and I brought home my Nalgene, which has been sitting in the office for the last year and a half. And so I need to drink about 3 of those full a day based on my weight. And it is both easy and hard. If I don't think about it and I just make sure it's full and next to my work computer, then I'll do it. But if I ever have to think about how much water I'm drinking, it's a lot. So anyway, let's find a bowl. Oh, right. Toasting almonds. Toasting almond flour. So, you can do this with just almonds and then grind them up yourself. Or if you have almond flour sitting around, keep it in the fridge, by the way, so it doesn't go rancid. Just like your milk, give it a smell. Make sure it doesn't smell rancid because there's oils in the nuts that can go bad if they're left out. So we're going to give those a toast. And that should not take too long in the oven. And I'm wondering if I should make, I don't know how much of this I'm going to use. Maybe I'll make 2 recipes worth just to be safe. Because I'm going to make, I made a whole bunch of puff pastry. And if, it's another thing that'll just kind of get saggy and not as good if you leave it around for a long time. So I'm just spreading this out to toast up in the oven. I don't want to let it go too long, so I'm going to check it like every 5 minutes to make sure it's not burning. I just want to get it toasty. And if you're using whole almonds, you can do it the exact same way. You can also do it in a skillet and then blitz them up in the food processor afterwards. So if you're doing it in a food processor, you can do the whole thing in the food processor. But I didn't feel like getting that dirty again because I finally put it away today after last week. So I figured I would keep it not that way. But I can measure everything else out while that's going. So of course, any tasty filling has some sweetness, some sugar, said I wasn't measuring anything. This is the one thing, the one part that I am measuring today. I'm gonna get some more eggs out because I decided to make that double recipe. I also got some eggs out of my fridge because I had too many eggs. So many eggs. We can tell Teo's here because he has started the workouts. They're even one-legged for you. What do you do to yourself, Taylor? It was the finally putting away the food processor after a week of it sitting. It was clean. It was on the counter, clean. I just hadn't put it away, so it's been in my way. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna put this somewhere else. So I don't have to keep referring to it. Where did Mark hide my salt? Mark was making pizza dough earlier, so my salt was slightly moved. And that's measured. Sure, why not? Cooled toasted almonds. Okay. I can start separating eggs and getting out some almond extract, which I'm pretty sure I have somewhere up here. Although maybe I'll just go vanilla. I don't know. I really should have found this part earlier. Ooh, I have coffee extract. I have maple, cinnamon. I don't know where that exists. So let's just go vanilla. It'll taste good too. Checking my almonds I put them in before we even came up to temperature. Right, separating eggs. That's what I was going to do. I need 2 full eggs and 2 yolks. I'm going to just, let's see, 2 full eggs, 2 yolks. So separate out. Just have to process in my head how I'm going to do this. I'm going to crack 2 eggs in here, then pull the yolks out, put them in there, and then crack my 2 additional eggs into the 2 yolks. That'll get me there. No special tools, no messing about with transferring eggs from one half shell to another. Just pop them in a bowl, dip in a clean hand, pull out a yolk. There we go. Easy as that. Surprised I don't see more people in like cooking shows doing it that way because it's so much faster than the futzing. Another, give this a little stir. You want to be able to smell it, get it toasty and extra nutty, but not burned. I can measure out flour also, although it's just sitting there. Boop. Well, I'm trying not to get into too much right now. No hand sink? Hand sink. Hi, Vinny. I'll put this back here. What I was saying is I'm trying not to get too distracted by doing like other tasks because I want to make sure I keep my eye on those almonds, that almond flour. Because if that gets burned, then I would have to start that over. That is the most sensitive part of today's creations. They have a word for like what specifically type of tart these are, Vinny, but I always forget. I mean, it's kind of like a Danish. It's I always forget what these things are called. But it's just some shaped puff pastry with some frangipane and some fruit in it. Yes, there is a hood on my tank top. I am quite enamored with this tank top. And it was actually cool enough out today that I could put it on. And of course now I'm slightly starting to regret it because it's getting hot in here. Still good. Ooh, I can start to smell it though. So that means it's getting close since I can start to smell. I am gonna just start mixing my peanut butter one because I also want to get some of this into a separate bowl so I can make a chocolatey one. This is also going to need some egg. It's kind of like it's not exactly going to be a peanut buttery frangipane, but it's going to be something, some weird hybrid thing. Maybe more peanut butter. I feel like it's too cream cheesy right now, not peanut buttery enough. Okay, I'm going to turn those off now because they're starting to get some color on them. So there is my toasted almonds. See where it's just starting to get brown there? If I let it go any longer, those bits will start to burn. So I'm going to get those out of there and into my bowl because that'll help them cool off a bit. course, I had my glove on backwards. That's why it was burning me. I was like, why am I feeling this heat? Through there, because I was using the wrong side of the glove. Because I are smart. How you doing, Vinny? Okay. We also don't want this to be too hot because we don't want to put our eggs in there and scramble them. We're going to get them nice and whisked up and creamy so that we can cook it and it'll be kind of like a real thick custard. So we want our almonds to be not super hot when we put it in there. I'm actually going to pop this in the freezer very briefly. Just to help it along. And wipe up some of this almond flour on the floor, because if I keep stepping on it, I am going to get very worked up about it. Okay. Butter. Next is the butter. Butter, then egg, then extract, then quarter cup of flour. Did not account for my double recipe in my butter. So I need to... Oh, no, I've had that butter out enough that it's already soft. Good! Okay. That just happened to work out for me. But I'm pretty sure I need butter for something else. I'm going to get another stick out. Just in case. Just in case. If not, it'll go on toast at some point. Okay. Didn't need to be super chill. Just not hot. So let's mix my butter in. Just gonna carve some pieces just to help get it swirled around. We also want this butter soft enough to mix in, but not completely melted, because that would not give us the texture that we want. You can, of course, put it in cold if you are using the food processor, which is nice and easy because you don't have to soften it, you don't have to remember to get it out, you just have to cube it up, throw it in the food processor with everything else. Doing it by hand, don't quite have that option. Hi, Baby Tweet. Welcome into the channel. Thank you for the follow. I keep telling myself I'm going to have some newbie questions, but I don't have them yet. So until then, I guess I can take a page out of Satsuna's book. And what's your favorite baked tasty treat? Since that is the theme of what we're going for today. Smells nice in here with those toasty almonds. Oh, from the races with Polly? Yes. I got, I think, 7th in the first round, and then I got 7th in the second round also. So I did not do any better even when the pro racers had moved to their own tier. No, I had a couple races that were like second. I never was able to beat Lebre. He was the pro of our bracket. Of course, I like to blame the fact that I only re-got the game recently. We had it a long time ago on Wii U actually, and so I hadn't bought it for the Switch. But then once I started getting onto Twitch and doing people's community days and hanging out and making friends and playing Mario Kart with them, I'm like, oh, I should get it. I was able to find it on sale on Amazon, and now I do not. You were not supposed to turn off. I have music on. So one, I don't remember like my good setup for how I was racing before, and two, I just haven't unlocked all the cars and the wheels and things that. Yeah, so I think I don't have like a good set of stuff to play as Pink Gold Peach, but I like playing as Pink Gold Peach. So I might have to like adjust myself to be a little bit more competitive. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's fun. We had a good time. And of course, my husband was in the background telling me that I'm not power sliding early enough. Do you have a... Oh, good job. Oh, Low, whatever. I forget the full name. I kept wanting to say Joe, but it was not Joe. It was an L, I believe. So congrats. Or were you in the top bracket? I don't know. I stopped watching because I got busy with something else. I think I had to do a little bit more work after the races yesterday. I stopped a little bit early so I could race, and then I went back to work afterwards. What kind of cookies? Oh, lemon pies. Ooh. That sounds nice. A nice lemon meringue pie. Nice and pretty and toasty meringue. Sweet and sour, so it's not super in your face sweet. Good choice. Although, you cannot go wrong with a good cookie. Oh, awesome. Congrats. What are you going to buy with your gift card? Is there a game you've been having your eye on? So this is my Frangipan is done. It is ready. It can just sit there until I'm ready to use it. So I'm just going to set it aside and get to work on some other stuff. Okay, so the base pastry of everything is puff pastry, and I made some earlier, so I'd be ready for stream because it is a process of a few hours to do. But the method is actually not that hard. Now, this is not a yeasted puff pastry. There's no yeast, there's no sugar, there's no milk, so it's not enriched and leavened, which is what you would need to make really good croissants. But this is a just plain puff pastry. It's not rough puff. If you've heard rough puff, it's not as rough as that, because I actually am creating a layer of butter and folding everything in. But it is also not going to give you nice big puffy croissants. That is a much longer process even than this couple hour process is. So I don't know if there's a name for this level of puff, or if it's just regular or what have you. But anyway, I made a full recipe of it earlier. I'm going to make another half recipe right now, just so I can show y'all the process. So the great thing about puff pastry is that it is deceptively simple. It is 4 ingredients when you're doing it this way. And that is flour, water, salt, and then the butter. And at this point, I'm just doing the first 3 to create a little ball of dough. And then I will let that chill out, because one of the keys is keeping it nice and chilled down. So I'm going to get this in the fridge, and then I'm going to pound out my butter, and then I'm going to get that in the fridge, and then I'm going to mix it later. But who is that? Oh my goodness. Hi. Hello. That is a Plenty of Zach raid. Hello, Zach. Yes, I had not noticed you for a sec. I was putting around because I am getting some puff pastry going. Let me finish just mixing this up real quick into a shaggy ball of dough, and then I will come and say hi properly. Yeah, apparently I don't have a sound alert for a raid, which is very silly of me, and also just indicative of my general unpreparedness. But that's just me. I'm just kind of winging it. Always just winging it. We are not a professional chef. I am not a professional chef. I pretend to be one on TV. I like to say there are people from the Food Network who got shows knowing less than I do. So why not? Why not have my own little cooking kingdom, cooking empire? Almost there, almost there. Just got to work the last of this flour into a ball, into my ball of dough. And then, as I think of more things to say about puff pastry, okay, stick this in the fridge and come back and say hi to y'all lovely folks that came in with Zach. Oof. Okay. There we go. Hi. Welcome. Oh my goodness. Welcome Kat, welcome Jade, welcome Mermaid Queen. Welcome Nortoto and everyone else. Thank you so much for coming by and seeing me. Thank you, Zach, for trusting me with your community. I am Warren or Quake. I build this is Thursday's Quake's Bakes in the Kitchen. I am doing great. The show is called It's Good Enough to Eat, because whatever you make, it's going to be delicious, even if it doesn't look super nice and professional. It doesn't have to look super pretty to taste really good. So we're a little bit messy, we're a little bit fun, and we're going to get it all done somehow. Oh, right, the meat cookies. Yes, I think I was making burgers, but I was also making cookies. So I called them, the patties were just meat cookies, right? I think that was a thing. I should have clipped that. Perfect. So thank you so much. Welcome in. I, of course, try to be a safe space. I am a gay male, he, him pronouns, based on the west coast of the U.S. So please come in, enjoy, get some snacks, have fun, learn a few things, and don't take it too seriously, because it's just baking. So again, thank you, and I'm going to get back to our Pride tarts. Last week I made a Pride cheesecake, so there was lots of food color to make a lovely rainbow of cheesecake. Today we are doing our rainbow with no food coloring. We've got a whole tray of assorted fruits and other fillings to make a lovely rainbow selection of tarts for this month of June that is Pride, LGBTQIA Pride. And yes, help keep me fit. Teo, my good buddy from down the road, loves to just spend all his points on making me do exercises for him. So, I think I had a thing to say about puff pastry, but what was it? Oh, right. So, it is the same dough as croissants, even though it's not yeasted or sugared or enriched or anything, so it's not so fancy. But because it is the same kind of dough, it is going to taste like what you put in it because it's so simple. And that main flavor is butter. I see someone said, butter. Yes, butter is delicious. So we're using good quality, high fat, low water butter. And I'm going to do the fun part, which is pound out our butter into a block, into a flat sheet. Some people, when they make puff, like to freeze their butter and grate it. Maybe it's just me not knowing how to do it very well, but I feel like it's a kind of a pain. You kind of get down to that nub of butter and you can't grate it, and you start grating your fingertips, and then you get skin and blood and things you don't want to put in the food. So I tend not to do that. So just make sure that you don't have anyone doing sound-sensitive things, and get yourself your rolling pin or your meat mallet in this case, and tenderize your butter. Take out your frustrations on the butter. And it's been on the counter for a little bit, so it's getting soft. The thing about this butter is it does get softer faster because it's more fat, less water. But that's all right. We don't mind. I'm just going to pound it out into a sheet because I want to get it nice and thin so that I can roll it into my pastry later. And I'm going to pop that back in the fridge to harden up again. Oop, don't want to roll it over. Just make my little parcel. And of course, if you have it this way, you can also pound it inside the parcel to get it nice and square. I was watching a much more competent and professional chef make some puff pastry yesterday, and she created that parcel, making all of her edges nice and neat and perfect, and of course had a much more professional looking product than I will ever have, because I got big old clumsy hands, which is funny because they're not even that big, but they're definitely clumsy. Okay, my goo's doing fine back there. Right, let's finish our peanut butter filling, which I have lost somehow. Oh, here we go. Peanut butter filling. This is our alternate to frangipane, but I wanted something else that would be a good base with chocolate. And who doesn't love peanut butter and chocolate, right? Who that doesn't like those two things separately does not like them together, I believe, is what I wanted to say there. going to crack an egg in there. Get out the vanilla that I put away too early. I always put away everything too early. If you missed it earlier, I don't futz around with my egg separation. I just crack it right in, reach in, like a little claw machine, pull my yolk out. It's easy, it's fast, as long as you don't mind getting a little albumin on your fingers. Okay. Here's my egg. It's just going to make it a little bit creamier, and when I cook it, that's going to help it set up a bit. And then I also want to put a little bit of this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be smart about this and melt some chocolate with some cream to make a ganache instead of just trying to melt it in there, because then I bet you I would manage to scramble that egg yolk, and we do not want scrambled eggs in our tarts. That is not going to fit our lovely sweet flavor profile. So I'm just going to chop up this chocolate a little bit, drop some cream on it, and throw it in the microwave for a minute. Well, that does not work very well for... Why doesn't that get narrower at the end? I want to create a chute. I'm not trying to create a... I don't know what that would be called. It's like a reverse funnel. It gets bigger at the end that you're pouring it out of. Silly. Geez, super early work. I mean, just take the day off tomorrow, right, Zach? You don't have to do anything important. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Thought I had some cream. Did I use all my cream last week? I probably did. Oh well. Got nice, highly fatty milk over here. I just want to create a little bit of a bath for my chocolate so it doesn't get scorched in the microwave. Let's get a second bowl for that. Okay. Okay, so now the next exciting bit is preparing all of my rainbowy things for my tarts. So I kind of want to get a large plate to set off to the side. Gonna move. This is some sourdough starter for later. How are we doing, chocolate? Did you get melty for me? I think you did. Yes. Yes, good. I already got out my bowl. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this in here. Set this aside with my frangipane. Pour my chocolate in here. Mix it up. Jeez, now I want some cocoa. Something about seeing melty chocolate in milk just makes me want cocoa. Imagine that. If you didn't want to go through the trouble of making your own stuff like this, making a peanut butter and chocolate and cream cheese and egg mixture, I'm sure there are very easy recipes involving like Nutella, especially if you like that hazelnut flavor. Um, I just wanted something that I could spread and that would set up that had chocolate in it, so I'm doing it this way. But you have myriad of options for whatever your preferred tastes are. So never feel constrained by what I'm doing here. I'm giving you lots of different options, tasty variations, and yeah, make it your own. You are the best judge of what you want to eat. Okay, so I've got some pre-cut mangoes over here. I'm just going to bring those into some slices. I think nice long strips. That's how I want to do it. Not sure yet. I find that since I'm not great at like arrangement or art or anything, if I can get like a nice geometric kind of shape going on, that usually serves me pretty well. So if I get like a bunch of little long strips of this mango, I can just kind of layer it together and it'll look nice. And it's very little effort for me. I don't have to get it too fancy. And I don't have to do a whole bunch of it because we're doing a million different colors and flavors and varieties because we want to get all the colors of the rainbow going on. Every color in the rainbow, every color in between, whatever we can do. We want to be inclusive today. So I've got some blackberries because they are going to be nice and dark and sweet and juicy and lovely. Just need a quick rinse. Gonna try to clear my space by getting all the easy things out of the way right now. I've got some fresh blueberries, which are also pretty dark and the closest thing we can get to blue. If anyone has a good idea for like a blue fruit that I could use, please tell me, because I could not think of any. And of course the goal today was not to use any colorings or flavorings. Oh, there's the apricots. I meant to get some of those out. And they were hiding. They were hiding in the drawer. You cannot hide from me. I will take your delicious flesh. And of course, always taste what you're using. Because these were the last bit of a jar of cherries. And they're not that good. So I might not use them. I might use something else. Take those away. And use some fresh cherries instead. That'll do us fine. I was also like trying to figure out something that was pink and having a heck of a time figuring that out. But then I found a little cup of grapefruit and said that will do just fine for me. If I'd thought about it enough ahead of time, I would have actually made some grapefruit curd, because it is my favorite curd to make and to eat. It is delicious. It is just the right combination of sweet and sour and bitter. It's also really dangerous because, I mean, there's a bunch of sugar in it. It's not the healthiest thing, but it is so good. I would just eat it with a spoon. Although I did see a good description of curd earlier today. Someone was asking, and I had like no good like word to describe what it was. And someone called, I think it was just a quick custard or it was some sort of custard. Because that's all it is. It's just some fruit juice that is thickened with eggs. I'm just running my knife through these strawberries. Have one extra little one to make sure that it's good. Because I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to most of these things, but the amount of sugar that I add will be based on how naturally sweet the fruit is. So sweeter fruit, less sugar. I did not try those blackberries. Good blackberries. I did find green fruits. We've got some kiwis. And I'm gonna get a little paring knife so I can get the rest of the skin off of those. Of course, the skin is edible. I have never been one to eat the skin. I just didn't grow up doing it, but I have had friends who just eat the whole kiwi. So if you want to, I'm like, go for it. But I do not particularly enjoy it. It's very fuzzy. So I'm just going to take my skin off. Take my kiwi skin off. Although it was much later. Like, I've always eaten kiwis. I've always loved them. But it was not until like college or something when I was introduced to the method of eating kiwis where you just cut it in half and scoop out the flesh with a spoon and just eat it that way instead of having to like do this peeling and preparing it. You just cut it right in half, scoop it out. It's like simplest thing, but genius. And of course, that's one of the ones that actually works for me. Like, I've got a mango over here, and I've seen people like use a cup to peel their mangoes, but I've never had luck with that. Like, I'm just gonna use a knife. The key to the mango is just cut a little bit off the bottom so that you have a flat surface, and you're not trying to like bounce it on a little point and cut it that way. So I think I'm gonna slice these in half and do little moons. Need to go ask Mark about the got dough proofing over there. And the toaster oven, and it just turned off, and I think it needs to get turned on again, but I can't hear him. I know he's yelling something at me right now, but I can't hear him, so he could put it in the chat, and I would know. Thank you, Claymore. Just turn it back on proof mode. Okay. Don't need to adjust the temperature or anything. Start. 9 degrees, 2 hours, because 2 hours is the max. There we go. Haha! Technology works. It did not. It defaulted back to... I just restarted it at 90 degrees and then dialed it up to 2 hours. Got a banana, which I was thinking briefly would be yellow for me until I, had 2 seconds to actually think about it. And it is very much not yellow inside, but that's alright. We've got white, pale, very pale yellow. We've got this color in our rainbow also. The idea is diversity and inclusion, getting everything represented, because that is one of the themes of this month. We are not excluding anyone except for exclusion. I really thought I had fixed that with having the background music on. Maybe it's just too low? I don't know. It shouldn't be. There should be noise coming through. There's not. Okay. Another easy one. I've got gooseberries. These are sticky. So, some of these things I'm going to bake, and some of them I'm going to put on after it's baked. So like I've got some, here was the real yellow fruit is my, well, the mango is pretty yellow, but then I've also got some dried pineapple rings, which I thought would be nice, but I don't want to bake them because they would dry out too much and not be super nice to eat. So I'm going to put those on after. A lot of the fruit's going to go on after, but I'm going to cook them and put them on top of the cooked frangipane. So I was thinking about doing some marshmallows on some, and then doing some of the marshmallows before so they get toasty, and some after so they wouldn't be toasty. Still debating, but they're there. It's an option. Gonna keep doing my fruit. I don't know how much of this I need to actually cut. I'm just gonna keep doing like one of each, although I have run out of room on my fruit platter. I mean, that would be nice to get at breakfast, wouldn't it? Go to brunch, get that nice fruit platter. I miss brunch. It's been a long time. Okay. So we've got pink, we've got red, we've got nice deep darker red, we've got orange apricots, we've got orange yellowy mango, we've got blueberries, we've got green kiwis, we've got blackberries. I actually might do some cooked and some raw blueberries, because when they cook, they're going to turn like a little bit roasty and purpley. I think that's the closest we're going to get to purple, although of course I just pulled out this plum, and I'm hoping this plum is nice and vibrant purple for us. If I can get off the sticker. Come on. I don't think I need stickers on all my fruit. Come on. There we go. Fingers are slippery from mango and kiwi. That's a nice color. It's more like fuchsia magenta-y. We'll call it purple. Purple enough for our purposes. The skin is pretty purple. And again, I'm doing everything pretty much the same technique. Just slicing things nice and thin, and so I can arrange them on my tarts when we get there. And as always, when you're chopping, make yourself your nice finger claw so that you protect your little fingies from your sharp knife, or your dull knife, as the case may be. What happened to my apple? I had an apple. The apple is going to be nice cooked, so I'm going to do that one in the oven. And I think the pear too, but the peaches and the berries, the stone fruit, I'm not going to cook. The kind of more fall fruits I will cook. The things that you would put in a pie. Although, there's no reason you can't make a blueberry or blackberry pie. I just don't tend to make very many berry pies. I make cherry pies, but cherries aren't berries. We make tomato pie all the time, but we call it pizza. So when we get to I want the stone fruit should be thinly sliced just so it's nice to eat when you're crunching into your tarts. But it's less important than it is for these fruits that I'm baking to be reasonably the same size. I want the apples and the pears to be reasonably the same size, because that way they will all cook evenly. There we go. I feel like I don't even need any more of that. This is also one of the better things to cook because I get to snack on all sorts of healthy things as I'm going. Get me nice and full of healthy fruit so that by the time my sugary desserts are out of the oven, I can restrain myself to eating just one of them. Ooh. I think pluots might be one of my favorite fruits. They're so pretty. They're so diverse. They're so delicious. Pluots, if anyone doesn't know, are a hybrid of apricots and plums. Better than either, in my estimation. And of course these cherries we have to go through and make sure we don't have any pits in them, because few things are worse. I keep trying not to deal in such absolutes. Few things are worse than um, biting into a dessert and encountering a pit. So we will make sure all of those are out while we do our squats. Taylor's not saving any points today. He's just going whole hog. That was 3. There's 4. 1 squat per cherry. 5. Come on. 6. 7. 8. 9. I mean, I know Teo's playing video games right now, so I feel like he's just popping in every few minutes and spending the points that he's amassed. There's 10. Okay, so that is our fruit for now. Certainly a good start. Oh, no, did I do a peach? I did. No, I say these things as there are just 2 more things sitting right in front of me. I'm silly. Okay, almost there. Almost. I'll do a peach because I wanted to get another sort of orangey colored thing. And then I was going to do a mango. Well, and then I realized I was going to buy a mango earlier until I realized I had some mango in the fridge still. But then I found this other type over here that I am not super familiar with. And it was called, oh, this is closer to yellow than it is orange. That's fine. Might be the yellowest thing we've got today. Definitely don't cut peaches like I just did. Please be good to your hands and be safer than I am. So anyway, I saw this extra type of mango and figured I would give it a try. And I'm betting it has a similar pit situation going on. So I'm not going to slice just right into it. Don't know. Also, I probably want to peel it. The skin feels similar to mango skin, so pretty tough. So I might just use my small knife and just peel it the way I would a regular mango. It looks pretty similar, which is fine. We've already started. We'll give it a spot on our tray of creations. Teo says he's kinda here. Are we ever more than just kinda here? I imagine I would watch this like I watched Food Network. Like, you see some interesting things. You might learn something. But often it's just comforting background stuff going on. And that's fine. Nice, chill, vibey space. With our nice, free, chill, vibey music. Ooh, that is interesting. That is more tart than the other mango. The other mango is sweeter. Why am I still using that tiny knife? Get out of here, tiny knife. You did your job. Now you can go home. And of course, since this is not a store-prepared mango, it is much more rough and ready than my other mango slices. But that's fine. We don't love many less for being a mess. Thought I could get away with a smaller second plate, but little did I know that I had gone overboard with my fruit selections. Okay, I'm going to stick you up here. I'm going to get rid of my cutting board so I have some room to work. Stick you over here. Out of the way. Okay. So, I'm going to fetch my rolling pin, which is on the table, because that's where I was rolling my pastry earlier. I also need to get knives out of my way. I'm getting close. I'm going to do my oven now. Put you away. Okay. Create my space for rolling, because I don't want to roll on my tile counter. Because no matter how much you clean the grout, it is not going to be clean enough. Okay, so here is my chilled down butter in a nice flat slab. Just goes off to the side. And here is my dough, which again is just flour, salt, and water. Now I'm not kneading this because I'm not trying to develop gluten. I'm not trying to get a bunch of texture, chewiness. We don't want chewy pastry. So I'm just rolling this out into a rectangle that is somewhat larger than my butter. So I want to be able to fit this here and roll and then fold my pastry around it. So I'm just gonna keep rolling this until it's big enough for me. There we go. So now I'm going to put my flattened butter right in the middle. And instead of parchment now, I'm going to keep using this parchment, so I'm not going to throw it away. Instead of a parchment parcel, we're going to make a little pastry parcel. Gift wrap our butter, because who doesn't want a nice butter present? All right, does anything sound quite so nice as a butter present? I'm just keeping my station floured a little bit so I don't stick. Flipping it over. And so now I've got butter enclosed in dough on all sides. And I just want to roll it out and flatten it. And this is called doing a turn of your pastry. The idea of the turn is that if you've had puff pastry before, or croissants, which are puff pastry, when you cut it open, it's got a bunch of layers inside that have puffed up and become crispy, crunchy. Your outside is lovely and crispy. Your inside is puffed up and flaky and pillowy and lovely to eat. And that is done by creating a bunch of folds in your pastry. So you know how I wrapped up the butter? It was a sheet of dough, a sheet of butter, a sheet of dough. 3 layers. Now I have just folded that in on itself, making 3 layers. So now I've got a total of 9. And I'm going to roll that out again. I have more room to work this way. And depending on how many times you roll out and fold, that will determine how many layers you get in your final product. And I saw a video once of someone rolling and folding the pastry to try to get to like something crazy, something wild. It was like 1,000,000 layers. But at that point, the layers were so fine and it was just so much of a mass of just integrated. We're trying to preserve layers of butter and flour and pastry. By the time they got to like that many turns, which is fewer than you'd think because they rack up pretty quick, it just became like homogeneous dough at that point. It was not worth it. So I think they talk about in pastry getting 1,000 layers, which ends up being like 4 to 6 turns, depending on how many folds you do. My other one that I did earlier, I had enough pastry to do a book turn, which is 4 layers at a time. This was just less pastry, so I was only doing 3 layers. So I'm only multiplying by 3 each time. But that one I was multiplying by 4. So if you want to math, you can math, but it went from 3 to 12 to 48 to 186 to 400 something to 1,700 something. So yeah, I mean, you can see how you can get to 2,000 layers pretty quick. So here's the one I did earlier, which is nice and wrapped in my parchment parcel. Because if you don't, you start to get like a skin on it, which is not so pleasant. But you can see the dough is nice and it's smooth and it's like lovely to touch. So I'm just going to work with half it at a time. I'm going to cut a piece off and get the rest back in the fridge. So I don't, because if you let it get warm, then the butter starts melting and you start losing those layers. So you're keeping it cold until you bake it, so you preserve all your layers. But if you can see, should be able to see striations in there where I did all those folds. And there's all my layers. I've got a Mark in the kitchen. He finished his business and now is looking for snacks. So now I'm just going to roll this out. And I want to keep it somewhat square. There's cherries on there. I want to keep it somewhat square because I'm going to portion it into squares. And that'll just make it easier for me if I keep it somewhat square as I do my rolling. So I'm just going to keep rolling out, not putting super huge amounts of pressure on it. I'm more pushing it out rather than pushing it down. And I think that's pretty good for 9 squares right there. I've gotten it rolled out pretty thin. And I'm going to be careful cutting because I don't want to cut through to my rolling mat. But I think that's about right. That's about square. So I'm just going to lightly go through. And again, we're not selling these. We're not putting them in a patisserie window. So it does not have to be super perfect. We're nice and chill and calm and have not a ready silpat. I had a silpat stuck in between my cookie trays. That's why we have an extra cookie tray ready to go. So then, each of these is going to get 4 slices, really. We do want to be somewhat speedy because we don't want it melting. I'll start over here. So we're going to just go in a little bit from one corner and slice through like 75% of the way. And then do the same thing on the opposite corner. Not going all the way. So then we can pull this corner up. Do need to cut that all the way through. And we're going to stretch that over to that corner and just press it down a little bit. And then I just need to go onto a better cutting surface so I can actually cut all the way through and not have to worry about my rolling board. Let's go get out that little cutting board again. And pull that one over. Of course, I should have done it with the middle one to demonstrate, because that is the nicest looking one. Of course, it's the most square. So, take 2. Cut. Cut. Not all the way to the edge. Cut. Cut. Fold it over, push it down, fold it over, push it down. So we get our nice little edge over here where it's folded over, makes a nice little shape. we've got a double layer of pastry over here, which is going to puff up for us. And then the middle there is where we're going to put all of our filling. I think we can fit 5 on this tray, and then we'll have to get a second tray. And of course, the thinner you make those walls, the more space you have for filling. So I think I want to make them a little bit thinner. There we go. That one wasn't that nice to me. It's alright. Okay. I'm going to throw that in the freezer to chill down before I cook it. And of course, also, the nicer you roll and cut and measure and get them really square, the nicer they will look. Fold over to the inner cut. And you do want to do this pretty quick, because the more you touch it and work it, the more that butter starts to warm up and the less nicely flaky and layer-y your final product is going to be. So try to keep your hands cool while you're doing it. Of course, keeping it on like a cold surface is also helpful. Also, don't do them on the hottest day of the year. Like, that's just not going to be fun for you. Luckily today is not super warm out, as you can tell since I'm wearing my sleeveless hoodie thing. I know we have an AC. It's interesting because we were playing Mario Kart with Polly, and he lives in New York, so he did not have an AC at the time. Just a lot of apartments in New York don't tend to have air conditioning, so he was ordering a wall unit or a window unit. Those are done. Okay. No, these aren't done yet. Let's, you know what? I can pull this one out of the freezer and put the other one in and do my fillings. My fillings that are going to be baked. So the almond is pretty nice with almost everything. But I'm also going to do, let's see. Let's do one of these is just going to be plain peanut butter. nothing else. And you can mound it up a little bit because the pastry will grow a bit to encase it. I think one will do peanut butter. And maybe we'll put the marshmallows, the toasty marshmallows, on this one. Pretty much right now you're just building whatever flavors you like. Let's do a chocolatey one. Also don't want to do too much because you don't want it like spilling over before the pastry has a chance to cook itself. And then we'll do our frangipan in these two and those other four. This is our nice almondy layer, which is going to go really nicely with pretty much all our fruits. I think a little less than that, because we do want room to put our fruit on afterwards. I'm gonna get these chilled down just another couple minutes while I get my fillings in here. I probably did not need to make a double recipe of the frangipan. I thought I was gonna need a lot of it. I really only need like a couple tablespoons per each one of these. So I'm gonna have to figure I'm gonna have to bake a whole ass tart or something. I'm gonna have to do a Bakewell tart so I can use up the rest of this frangipan. I don't have anyone to feed a Bakewell tart to. Not that I really have anyone to feed any of this to either. I'm gonna have to freeze a bunch of this so I can space it out and use it over the next few weeks. Or heck, I could make a bunch of these to give to my mom's birthday friends instead of the shortbread cookies that they requested. I mean, she just wants things that look nice and taste good, and these are gonna fit that bill. Okay, so the ones that I am baking the fruit, I'm just gonna layer some apple across the top. I think I also might bake a cherry one. Sounds nice. I bet banana would bake pretty good too. I think I'm just having fruit for dinner because I cut up way too much for the amount of tarts that I am making. Mark, you can have as much fruit as you want. I went overboard. Okay, I'm just going to throw these right in. Oh, I gotta change the level of my oven racks. That one's way too high for this. Okay. Move. Move, you're in the way. And pop those right in. I did, I just said that. And those bake for a pretty good amount of time. They bake like 35 to 40 minutes. So, while those are baking, I'm going to use up some of this sourdough. What are you doing? What are you doing over there? He's dancing.
What are you doing?
Hi. Thank you. Do I? He thought he could get me. I am too clever by half. Whew. I do need that hydration reminder today. Okay. To the sourdough. So, unfortunately, this is not a dough that is going to be ready to bake tonight. It has a long proof and knead and everything time. But I'm going to get it started so I can have some stuff to show off on Instagram, because who does not love a fresh bagel? Are these cooking a sugar bath? Interesting. Anyway, this is not a big enough bowl for my purposes, so I'm going to have to find a bigger bowl. And it's a good thing it rests and rises on the counter, or else I would have no place in the fridge to put it. Okay. I had a scale. There's my scale. Because I need to know... Ooh, bagel sandwiches. That does sound... I should turn my scale on so I know what I'm doing. What do I got? How much of this do I got? You didn't miss a whole lot, Teo. You just missed everything. The tarts are in the oven, and I am making some bagel dough now. We're right about at 200. Good. I'm going to get my extra. For that lovely sour goodness. Ooh, a smoothie. Yeah, I should have a smoothie for dinner. Because I got a whole bunch of fruit over there. I'm going to have to make a whole nother set of like 18 more tarts also. Because I have nothing else to do with all this fruit. So I might have to make a whole fruit tart with just the French pan. I'm gonna have to make some more dough because that is not the same dough. I'm gonna have to make some pâte sucrée. Are you stealing my goldfish? He stole my goldfish. He stole my goldfish. Stole my goldfish. I need 2 cups of water. What happened to my? I had a cup. I had a cup thing. It's somewhere. No, a liquid measure. It's somewhere. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Mark, entertain them while I'm getting water. He's talking over there. I can't hear him.
I said my perception is low right now.
Oh. He rolled a critical miss on his perception roll.
No, I'm having like an effect for
Oh, he's got a negative score for some reason. Someone cast Bane. He had to minus a d4 from his roll. Okay, there's my water. We are sweetening with honey today. If I could find my honey. I've got honey somewhere. Here we go. We want cherry pie again. I already made cherry pie. I made cherry pie like not all that long ago. For you, Teo, you had the cherry pie. Do you just want me to make it because you want to eat it again? I can't stream the same thing twice. And I suppose I could. Cherry something. I mean, I'll make you a cherry pie if you want. I'll just have to figure out something else to make with it. Because I want to give the viewers what they want. Something new. Oh, Mark loves cherries. Guess Teo loves cherries too. It's got a whole ass comb in it. Honey. He hasn't had any booze today. I didn't open any booze. He had his little shaken espresso mocktail thing that he makes. He had some candy. But yeah, no booze. Oh, you want like, I mean, because when I make it, it's not like canned cherry pie filling. I hope it's better. Seems like a lot of salt. But it's going to be a lot of dough also. Starter water, honey, salt. Okay. Two wants cherry goo, not actual cherries. I feel like making cherry ice cream or something. I'm like, what am I doing on? It's a piece of wax from the honeycomb. Of course, I put away my scale, and I need my scale. I need a kilo of bread flour. Mark, I need bread flour. I need bread flour. No, he's busy playing Rocket League.
How many pounds do you need?
1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to use 8.
Okay. Apparently we're close to running out of bread flour. Hot cherry good. Hot shell ray. Hot cherry pie. Who's your cherry pie?
There's some AP around here that's half open.
Yes, I know. I put it in the bin already.
Oh. That's why I needed to tell your mom where I have a whole bunch of soda.
So this is half bread flour, half not bread flour. And now the fun bit. bagels are nice because you cannot, well, it would be very difficult to overwork them because they are supposed to be very chewy. So once I mix this in and form my initial dough, I'm going to get my working mat back out and start working it by hand because I'm going to be kneading it for a good 10 or 15 minutes. And it's a lot of dough, but it should make about 16 bagels, which is of course enough to do a few different topping varieties. Doesn't once received baked goods must be local. I was actually offering, like, if you're a subscriber and you were comfortable giving me your address, I will absolutely mail you cookies. Especially if that means I get the cookies out of my house. Okay. But I don't want to throw that bowl in the sink because I will be just using that as my proofing bowl. Here's where I need to put on that visual ASMR tag. And of course, Mark said he would help with this, but he is busy with his game over there, which is alright. I can always use a little bit of extra arm workout. This is his request. He made a bunch of leaven to make sourdough pizza, and then he's like, I don't have enough. I have too much leaven. Do you want to make something? And him asking me, do I want to make something, is code for I want you to make something. So, we just started watching a bunch of videos on YouTube by a very talented female chef, baker. We were reading her book, and in one of her videos, she was making scratch bagels. So, today we are inspired by Claire Safitz. I think I heard Mark yell at me. She made a million. That's where I got the frangipan recipe. It's not where I've made puff pastry a lot of times before, but she had a nice video explaining the ins and outs of making, like, real croissant dough, which I have made before, but it is a process, like a full day process. Whereas the dough I made for these tarts, I started at lunch, and I did a turn on my afternoon break. So what I didn't say earlier is I did that one turn of the puff pastry. Now it's in the refrigerator chilling, and once it's cooled back down again, so the butter stays in its nice layers without melting, I can do a couple more turns. And then it'll be ready. It's just a process of folding and rolling and chilling. It's not difficult. It just takes time. And of course, if you want to make this recipe by just going to the store and buying a frozen sheet of puff pastry, that's also great. It's a great use of frozen puff. All you have to do with frozen puff is just take it right out of the freezer, take it out of the bag, unfold it, roll it out, cut it exactly the same way that I did mine. And it stores in the freezer. Like I can put the one I just made in the freezer, probably. I think I've never actually tried it. I usually try to use it all up when I make it. But I could try freezing some. We'll see how motivated I am tonight to keep popping out more pastries. It's another fun thing about watching the Bake Off is you get to see everyone's methods for rolling and folding and kneading. Some people, of course, like to throw it down. Some people will like hold one side and kind of roll and push. It's not working great for this dough because it doesn't have enough gluten yet to not break. That's really for more sticky doughs. Like I think brioche is a stickier dough that works with. This one didn't start out too sticky, but the more you work it, the more you develop gluten, the more the flour proteins get hydrated by that water, the less sticky it gets. I don't have to keep adding flour to it. It's going to just become less and less sticky as I go. And I can feel myself like getting my workout in. A little bit short of breath as I'm doing this. And of course, it smells amazing if you like that sourdough bread smell. Like when I first opened the leaven, because, I mean, it's super sour because it's really concentrated. It's very pungent. But now that I've added some honey and some flour, it's much more relaxed. Just that lovely sourdough, fresh smell. And of course, this is not going to be the most authentic of bagel, because one, you usually don't use sourdough to make bagels. It's usually just a fresh yeasted dough. Also, what I was learning is that the classic sweetener is a malted syrup, I think is the sweetener for like a classic New York style bagel. Or barley malt syrup, something. I don't know exactly what it is. Pretty sure it's a malted syrup. Sounds right. Anyway, it gives it that distinctive color, helps it get nice dark brown when it gets baked. But this is pretty nice to work with. It's not sticking to my hands, it comes right off. I'm just pushing it out, folding it over on itself. Fold it over. As you go, it's like you can already tell that it's become much smoother. It's not there yet. We should be done. I don't know. Might be half or 2/3 of the way there. But we are almost at the halfway point of our tarts. So I'm going to, when that timer goes off, I'm going to rotate them in the oven. I'll both rotate them 180 degrees and switch where the pans are in the oven, because that will just ensure that we get even baking on all of them. And you can already see how they're starting to puff up nice and tall. So we know we did our job with the lamination. You can see all those layers in there. Those look super nice. I thought I was getting close to overfilling them, but no, they look good. It's always exciting to know that that pastry that you made is going to puff up nice for you. You never really know until it gets in the oven. And also, I didn't mistreat it because the butter isn't all just leaking out on the pan. So I am freshly excited for that. And dehydrated. Okay. Back to the kneading. Well, I'm going to have to remember. I think I did remember to put the cool down on there since you used it. I think I put one a day because I can do, or one per stream, because I can do multiple things in one stream, or at least multiple parts of things. I mean, I could count this week as cherry something because there is a cherry one that's baking. Are you still here, Taylor? You said you eat a lot of bagel sandwiches. What do you put on your bagel sandwiches? I don't cook a lot of eggs here. I was talking about that a couple weeks ago. But, I mean, I do love a good, like, herby cream cheese and smoked salmon moment. Love me some lox. Apparently, Claire Saffitz had a friend growing up that would put butter and cream cheese on a toasted bagel. And I've never tried that. But when I do have toast on the rare occasion, I do toast it and then have my soft butter and jam. I am definitely a butter and jam person. And Mark thinks that's silly. He will have 2 pieces of toast. One piece of toast will have butter, and the other piece of toast will have jam. But mine, both on both, is best. Yeah, no, I like the salty, fatty little hit of the butter along with my jam. And of course, it has to be the right kind of jam. I mean, works great with strawberry jam, apricot jam, which I feel is the kind of the most common ones. I don't know if I would do better with raspberry. It has that extra tartness. Like it's like cutting through. Right. I'm cutting through the sweet jam with my little fat salt kick. Oh my goodness, this dough is so nice. So nice. It's soft, but it's like durable. Like it feels smooth. It's soft. It's pliable. I'm excited for these bagels. But of course, they're not going to bake until tomorrow morning. So apologies if you're excited for bagels tonight. You're not going to see them until tomorrow. My Instagram is on the page. That's where I post all of the pictures of the food that I make. YouTube is down there too. That's where all the videos get posted after the next week. Go. Right? Look at this dough. You poke it and it springs back. It's a good sign. Also, if you were to tear a piece off, you can stretch and stretch until you can see through, like, without it really breaking. So it's almost there. That's the window pane test. It's not quite there. Did I set a timer? I didn't set another timer. I'm silly. How long ago did I put those in there? Probably, let's say 15 minutes. I'm not worried about these burning at that temperature. I want to make sure that puff gets cooked all the way through, especially that frangipan, because that's full of eggs. I want to make sure our eggs are nice and cooked through, nice and soft and custardy. Suppose I could do some without the frangipan. Just fill it with some jam, fill that with other fruit. I could, of course, do like a mixed fruit one, but I mean, they aren't really big enough to do a whole fruit rainbow on them. I can try like one piece of each fruit on there. Anyway, I've still got some work to do post stream. We'll keep going until those get out of the oven. I'm not going to need this that long. We'll need this another minute or two. As I fold it over and over, and make sure I rotate it too, so I get the bottom. Can't just pay attention to the top. Make sure every piece of your dough gets attention. Maybe we'll stop now because I feel a little bit of sweat coming on. I do not want to get sweat into the dough, especially when you're feeding people. If this is Mark, I wouldn't care so much, but I'm sure Teo's going to come over and steal a bagel. And my mom. And my mom's neighbors. Those are pretty much the people I have to feed these days. If Robo were here, I would make sure he got a bagel. Boigles? Bagels? Maggles? Are we from? I forget who says it that way. It might have been from Broad City. Okay. I think we're going to call that good. Okay. I'm going to put that back in my bowl and let it rise on the counter, covered, overnight. And that will be bagels tomorrow. Okay. Let's wash our hands. And figure out what to do until our pastries come out of the oven. Put a few things away. Everyone make sure you're getting up out of your chairs, getting a little stretch on, staying hydrated. Stay mobile, just for Teo. Teo, get up. Stretch. Stretch, you've been sitting too long. You've been playing that space game. Oh, there was that stretch. Who was asking me about a stretch yesterday? Oh, Brian. Brian was asking me about a stretch yesterday. So one thing I was apparently talking to a friend about was the fact that my hips are not as flexible. I just had a towel and then I lost it. Probably tossed it on the ground. Well, whatever. So one thing I was telling my friend apparently was my hips are less flexible. So let's try to open up the hips. Just gonna squat down and then open up at the knees, trying to keep my posture up and open up my hips. Make sure your shorts are nice and stretchy when you do this, so there's no rippage, because that's no good. Just gently push your knees to stretch your hips. If it hurts, stop. Don't go farther than your body wants you to. And you can't really beat a nice forward bend. Ooh, I'm stiff. Make sure you can. I used to be able to touch the ground. There we go. Breathe into it. Stretch out the back. This stretches out the back of your quads. And your hood falls down. That's okay. Always wash your hands after you bend down and touch the floor. Take the opportunity to wash your meat mallet, your butter mallet. Yes. Remember to stretch every day. Try not to lose your mobility if you stretch every day. When you are young or relatively young or what have you, you keep your mobility much longer. And hydrate. Always drink your water. How are we looking? Ooh, we are almost there. I think that 40 minutes is gonna be just about where we want to be. So we've got a dancing hungry Mark back there. What was I saying? Right, hydration. 64 ounces, 8 ounce glasses is not enough unless you weigh 130 pounds. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces a day. So I need to be drinking like 100 ounces a day. And of course, that's water and other hydrating drinks. That doesn't include coffee, unfortunately, because I could do 100 ounces of coffee pretty much any day. I think this is my third one of these today. So I'm about right on track. That's 3 that are 32 ounces. And you do get some. I'm going to have a bunch of fruit later, as you can see, and that is hydrating. So you can get some of it that way. But the real adult beverage is not, it's not cider, although I do like that cider. But the real adult beverage is water. I'm so excited. I'm going to move this for the moment. I'm just going to start rolling out some more, but I don't. Maybe I can roll it out. Roll it out and put it on a tray and chill it down. And then those will be ready to come out of the oven right then. That also gives me some room in the fridge because I don't have a big old plate of pastry in the fridge. So we're going to be speedy. We're going to do it fast. I say this, but let's see if I can live up to my words. If I knew where my rolling pin was. Here we go. Okay. And you know what I really should have done was do my second turn of that other puff pastry. That would have been a good idea. A better idea, even. Just enough flour. Keep it from sticking. Light dusting. And I'm just picking it up and rotating it as I go through to make sure that it's not sticking on me. Okay. So then I was going to go just on my sill pad over here and in the freezer. I left myself barely enough time to do this turn. Probably only because it's half the size, too. So this is chilled down again, and I just do the same treatment that I did before. Roll it out, and if you can see it, you can still see like the layers of butter in there as I'm rolling it. And as you get it rolled out, they will become less and less visible. So here's my 1/3, 1/3, rotate. And it looks like I'm going to get it long enough to do a book turn this time so you can see what that's like, which is just fold to the middle, fold the other side to the middle, then fold the whole thing over. And that's how you get 4 turns, or 4 layers, a multiple of 4. but you only want to do 2 turns at a time between chilling, because even just that much, working with my warm hands will, in a warm kitchen, will start the butter melting. So keep it chilled. It's a game. How many oven mitts can we get out? And there we go. Look at those. Cutting board's in the way, of course. How long has that been there? No one told me. Look at that. Nice and lovely and crispy brown. Our frangipan is nice and soft but fully cooked. We can poke that down and put some fresh fruit on there. Like I said, I'll probably do a few without the frangipan, with the berries. So they'll just have fresh berries in the middle. But look at that. That is our nice puff pastry. If you can see the sides, there's all our layers. Ooh, it's hot. But I do pronounce those good enough to eat. So let's find someone to raid before wrapping up completely. But of course, thank you so much for being here, for coming and hanging out, for getting our food on. Oh my goodness, he's been going for 5 hours. Ooh, Eichenfell. Ooh, and Danny just started. Perfect. Let's go raid Danny. Danny is lovely and amazing, and he's your friendly local meatball. So let's go show him some love. Here we go. I hope that you all learned something. I hope that you are brave and try making something with puff pastry, because it is delicious. It is absolutely lovely and flaky. Um, there's our raid message. So be nice, and whatever you make, show me, because I'm sure it will be good, that it is always going to be good enough to eat. I will see you in the morning for some fitness time, and then maybe some more Solasta. So until next time, thanks. That was a terrible sign off. Should just end on the good enough to eat. I'm going to stop before I ramble more. Okay, reading.